Elmer Dawson.
It's the 1990 NCAA Basketball Championship. Brought to you by Rawlings Sporting Goods, maker of the official ball of the NCAA Basketball Championships. By Pizza Hut.
To the Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City, Utah, as we continue first-round action from the West Regional of the 1990 NCAA Tournament, the University of Arkansas Little Rock and the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. A very pleasant good evening. I'm John Sanders along with Bruce Larson. Let's talk about these Trojans from UALR. They've got to shoot the basketball and shoot it well if they're going to win here tonight.
Well, I think you're right, John. Both teams like to play an up-tempo game, but UNLV has an advantage with power inside and size and quickness. So I think if University of Arkansas Little Rock is going to have a chance to win, they got to really shoot it well from the perimeter, and they've got a couple of guys that can do that.
They really do. A couple of young men who had great tournaments. On the left, it's Derek Owens. He hit 13 in a row in the championship game. Carl Brown, 10 of 13 three-pointers in the semifinal game.
Well, you know, if they can shoot that well in this particular ball game, that'll really make a difference for them, because I think they're going to have trouble getting the ball inside and getting anything done. So these two guys are probably the key for the University of Arkansas Little Rock to win tonight.
They had great tournaments. So did a fellow for UNLV by the name of Stacey Ogman. Kind of quiet during the regular season, but coming on strong right now.
We watched Ogman's career out in the West, and he's been their defensive leader for the first couple of years. And as you indicated, not scoring much, but in that tournament, he really came along with the offensive side of the ball. And if he adds that to his defensive prowess, then boy, UNLV on a roll with that tournament play could go all the way.
They had 3 great games in winning the Big West tournament. Of course, they've also got the strength inside with Larry Johnson and David Butler. They are the top seed in the West. The Runnin' Rebels starting in search of an NCAA championship tonight in Salt Lake City. We'll have the starters right after this. This is the first meeting ever between the University of Arkansas Little Rock, the Trojans, against the University of Nevada, Las Vegas Runnin' Rebels. Jerry Tarkanian had a tremendous record in 17 years at the helm of UNLV, 443 victories. 15 times he's taken his teams to the NCAA tournament, and a great run also at Little Rock for their head coach, Mike Newell. 3 NCAAs, a couple of NITs. They've had 5 straight 20-victory seasons. He is in his 6th season there. So we have the Trojans, the University of Arkansas Little Rock, a record of 20-9 against the Runnin' Rebels from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. The Rebels are 29-5. They won the Big West tournament. Arkansas Little Rock winning the Trans-America tournament. We're just about set for the opening tip. And to handle the starters for both the Rebels and the Trojans, the public address announcer here is Mike Runge. Mike.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the starting lineups for tonight's first round game between the University of Arkansas at Little Rock Trojans and the University of Nevada, Las Vegas Rebels. For Arkansas Little Rock, at forward, a 6'4" senior from Gary, Indiana, number 23, Derek Owens. For UNLV, at forward, a 6'7" junior from Dallas, Texas, number 4, Larry Johnson. For Arkansas Little Rock, at forward, a 6'6" sophomore from Detroit, Michigan, number 44, James Womack. For UNLV, at forward, a 6'8" junior from Pasadena, California, number 32, Stacey Ogman. For Arkansas Little Rock, at center, a 6'7" sophomore from Minneapolis, Minnesota, number 21, Rob Wade. For UNLV, at center, a 6'10" senior from Washington, D.C., number 00, David Butler. For Arkansas Little Rock, at guard, a 6'2" junior from Gary, Indiana, number 11, James Scott. For UNLV at guard, a 6'1.5" sophomore from Detroit, Michigan, number 12, Andrew Anderson Hunt. For Arkansas Little Rock at guard, a 5'10" senior from Detroit, Michigan, number 32, Carl Brown. And for UNLV at guard, a 6'2" junior from Las Vegas, Nevada, number 50, Greg Anthony. Now please welcome the coach for the University of Arkansas Little Rock, Mr. Mike Newell. And the coach for UNLV, Mr. Jerry Tarkanian.
We have met the participants. The starters and the coaches have been introduced. We'll return to the Huntsman Center with the opening tip-off right after these messages.
Finally, there's a minivan for kids with parents.
And along with Bruce Event Center, obviously a big size difference, and it favors the Runnin' Rebels here, Bruce.
Well, it does. Quickness-wise, maybe the two teams match up pretty well. They both like to play an up-tempo kind of game with a lot of pressure on defense. You'd think maybe University of Arkansas Little Rock would like to change that, not try to run the court with the Rebels, but I think they can't play any other way, and they've got to take their chances that they're shooting well. But the size, the difference is inside with UNLV over the smaller, maybe quicker. I don't know. I think quickness. University of Nevada, Las Vegas has great quickness inside as well as size, as you well know from that tourney participation that you had.
Mickey Crowley will be the referee. Terry Stout and Dan Chrisman will be the umpires. That's Mickey with the basketball. We are set to go. Game 3, the earlier winners here in Salt Lake City. Ball State in a thriller over Oregon State, and Louisville starting in search of another NCAA championship with a victory earlier over Idaho. And in white, the Runnin' Rebels have the basketball. Anthony out in front, over 8 assists per game.
UNLV comes out in the zone.
And Hunt with a three-pointer. It won't go. Anthony gets it back inside to Augman. Up, left-hander puts it home.
Well, Stacey Augman is kind of their alley-oop guy. They set their out-of-bounds plays for him, and you'll probably see some more of those as the ball game goes along. He's 6'8", very mobile.
First time up for Carl Brown, only 5 feet 10 inches tall. But he works the baseline, has it stripped away by Augman. You've got Hunt in front. This is the transition game. Looking for the alley-oop, and they've got it.
Well, that's 2 alley-oops for Augman already in the first minute of the ball game. 6'8", Anderson Hunt, about 6'1", great lob pass. You'll see those guards, excuse me, John, you'll see those guards leave early for UNLV.
They will. They'll hang around that half-court line. And again, Augman overplays the pass. That's the other thing that UNLV does, is you know they overplay you drastically defensively.
Yeah, they're all so quick. See, Augman's 6'8", Butler 6'10", and Anderson or Johnson 7 or 8. All quick along with the guards. They're just as quick as the guards, maybe quicker inside.
Mishandled the inbound pass, and here they come again. Augman trailing, Butler trailing, but that will not count because Anderson Hunt traveled in trying to go behind his back.
That's 3 possessions by University of Arkansas Little Rock, and they turn it over 3 times. Up-tempo, quick break, transition game for University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Very, very quick.
Maybe some early tension on the part of the Trojans. It's thrown away, and again, Anthony overplaying Carl Brown to that right-hand side. So keying the inbound play will be James Scott. He will someday be UALR's all-time leading scorer before his career is finished. He's a junior from Gary, Indiana.
Well, that's front scoring as a freshman. Freshman newcomer of the year in that league. He's not scoring as much in these next 2 years, but again, he's making better shot selection and doing some things better.
The baseline and draws the foul. He's shooting a lot less as his career has gone along than he did early on.
Well, I think that indicates he's making better shot selection and probably shooting a better percentage, not scoring quite as much. But he's got a better supporting cast right now. He doesn't have to carry that load.
And next to Pete Newell is his young son, just to his left, who told his dad he didn't want to play the bald-headed guy.
He wanted to play the Bulldogs. Who's the Bulldogs?
They're the last team in the conference.
Doesn't take long for these young coaches to be to know who you want to play.
Absolutely.
And when and where you want to play.
Doesn't seem to bother Jerry Tarkanian who, when, or where. Rebels 29-5 coming in. Their losses were to Kansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico State, LSU, and Santa Barbara. And Santa Barbara opening with a victory for the Big West.
Yeah, that's great for the Big West.
The unhappiness there, some of it over the fact that Long Beach did not make it. Augman tried to go to Johnson, and Scott backpedaling picked it off as they sagged inside.
That's some great athletic ability by Scott. He's quick and he can jump. He's probably got the best athletic skills on that University of Arkansas Little Rock team.
But as you pointed out, they really haven't handled the ball very well so far when they've been on offense. Anthony right at the top of the circle. Augman skips it to Hunt in the corner. Inside, Butler turns into the lane, won't get the roll. Rebound to Scott. This is Carl Brown, number 32. He pulls up. He likes those long-range threes, misses it. Scott up to try to battle for the rebound. And the Trojans will have it. So the University of Arkansas Little Rock down 4-2 after the first 2 minutes of the game.
You know, we talked about James Scott. He's a good rebounder for the size he has. 5'8", almost 6 rebounds a game. And you saw him go from his guard position there, off guard, and get a hand on that board and almost get a tip.
And he has great jumping ability. The penetration by Owens off the glass, and it rattles home. It was Owens who hit 13 in a row in the championship games. The springboard for career-high 33 for him.
He has a reputation of a great glass shooter, and Coach John Wooden was a great exponent of that particular kind of shot. Shoot it off the glass anytime you can. You got a target to shoot at.
Augman went for the 3, came up empty. Johnson did not handle the rebound. So with the game tied at 4, the Trojans looking for their first lead. Owens again, and it's blocked away. A 2-on-1 between Anthony and Hunt. It'll be Hunt for the basket.
2 quick guards handle the ball going down the court without a pad, without a dribble. Straight across. I was impressed with Owens' quick move to the baseline. He's got some good quickness. So those 3 perimeter people for UNLV have good quickness, but they got to shoot it well. And I think a lot of things that people don't know about the University of Nevada, Las Vegas is that they're a very good defensive team. Just excellent. They really pressure you all over, contest all passes, and pressure the ball. So they're not going to get any uncontested shots in that 3-point area.
The foul is on James Womack, a senior from Detroit. It seems like the areas of Gary, Indiana, Detroit, Michigan, they've had a pipeline into that part of the country. Have the Trojans. Well, they shot it well. You talk about shooting it well. They are on a streak. Shot 58% in their tournament. That's compared to only 44% in the regular season. Butler is fouled as he went up along the baseline.
They shot 66 in the final game. In fact, they shot 74% in the final 20 minutes. And I think that's the kind of a game they're probably going to have to compensate for the disadvantage they're up against as far as the size and quickness of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas inside.
And the last couple times down, we've seen a little more of UNLV trying to pound it inside, and that's what they'll do out of the half-court offense. They love the transition game, and if they go to half-court, well, they'll try to beat you inside. Butler has really improved as a foul shooter. He's at 74% for the season coming in. And you look back to what Butler did last year, he shot only 61%.
Yeah, he's really improved his whole game. A junior college transfer, a great player in junior college out of San Jacinto. And UNLV program has really, they've dealt with a lot of junior college players through the years. Done a good job with them. Tarkanian was a junior college coach for a number of years.
Owens out top to Brown. Down the lane he comes. Has it blocked by Johnson. University of Arkansas Little Rock will keep it. Trojans down by 3. 16-24 to play in the first half. And Mike Newell up, working the sidelines a bit.
Well, Brown's got like a halfback. He's 5'11". A lot of people feel he's the best player in the country under 6 feet.
Weaves his way in the tall territory, and it's 4-on-1. Anthony. Augman finishes it off.
Well, that's 3 dunks for Augman in the ball game in the first 4 minutes.
That's the way he is playing coming out of the Big West tournament. UNLV out to its biggest lead of the first half. They're up by 5. Womack right at the foul line. It nestles in. Well, James averaging 13 a game, gets his first 2 tonight. Here comes Augman hanging along the baseline, and he bends it home. Count it. So Stacey Augman, red hot, coming out of Long Beach, stays that way.
Now, Stacey Augman was the player of the year in that conference last year. He didn't even make this conference all-conference team this year.
All he got was honorable mention. He didn't make the second team.
His teammate, that's right. And his teammate comes along, a junior college transfer by the name of Larry Johnson. A lot of people feel is the best player in the country. And he's the most valuable player of the year. So they've had the most valuable player in that conference the last 2 consecutive years. Maybe more before that even, probably.
We have the first substitution. Tony Jones, who is a 7-footer, comes in. He'll pick it up for Womack, who's in early foul trouble with 3. UNLV has a 6-point lead. We'll be back to Salt Lake City in just a minute.
Mark and Rennie. And
Played just over 4 minutes here in Salt Lake City. Right in the foothills of the Wasatch Mountains, on the campus of the University of Utah. And we've seen the transition game of UNLV pay off already.
It has, and we indicated at the top of the show that both teams would probably play the up-tempo game. They've been playing it all year, and that's the programs that these coaches, or philosophies these coaches espouse. Mike Newell under Billy Tubbs at Oklahoma, I'm sure he picked up some of that there. And Jerry Tarkanian has played this way for a number of years.
Brown outside. Get some help from Scott. Nevada, Las Vegas winning their Big West tournament by an average of about 22 points a game. He just rolled through there, and Ogman with a steal.
You see why Stacey Ogman we recognize him for his defensive play. I think he's had 3 contested passes or 3 interceptions on that wing pass already. 6'8", excellent quickness. Played in the World University games, played on the Olympic team. Great background.
With the long reach and the long arms, and he uses that to help him defensively.
Look at those big hands.
Scott at the top of the circle. Starts to move. Against Hunt. The jumper off the glass. Tipped up. Fighting for it. Coming away is Jones. Now Owens down the baseline. He's cut off. Shoots anyway. Johnson the rebound.
Johnson's been kind of quiet, but he averages 11 rebounds a game.
Stacey Ogman, Butler trying to rebound and really trying to roll. A foul on the play was called inside on Rod Wade.
You might say UNLV not very physical inside. Butler's only about 200 pounds at 6'10", but very, very quick. Johnson gives them their physical strength at 6'7", and about 235.
The quick entry to Butler. Go back out to Hunt. Reset to their point guard, Greg Anthony. Threw it away. Johnson looked to the corner, and there was nobody there. Keep in mind that Greg Anthony has done a great job in becoming a point guard. When he started his collegiate career at the University of Portland, he was a 2-guard. He was a shooting guard.
That's right. He left Las Vegas and went to Portland, and then that's his home in Las Vegas, and came back. And has been a real factor in this
He is
basketball.
He's had, of course, the broken jaw. His jaw is wired. What they'll do is loosen a little bit. They'll tighten it before the game. Brown with the jumper. Rattles out. Johnson the rebound. To Anthony. To Hunt. Scoop shot won't go, and Brown picks up the foul. It's the first on Carl. Well, that's the transition. They really look to the wing immediately to get that fast break started.
Well, whether it's a made, steal, it's much easier to get your transition going after a steal, and of course UNLV does that very, very well. But then even after a basket, they're going to push the ball on the floor on you, so you really have to run the court well with your defensive players to contain this group. And I'm sure they figured with a 7-footer in there, they could beat him down the floor with Butler or Johnson, depending on who he covers.
Hunt rolls it home.
That's a great call that Stacey Ogman has at 6'8". He can really run the floor. Who do you cover him with? You put a small, quick guy on him, and he goes over the top of you. And you put a bigger, stronger guy on him, he runs right by him. So the matchups are really tough.
They really are. It's an 8-point lead now for UNLV. They're in front of the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. Coach Mike Newell's team. A year ago, losers to Louisville in the first round of the tournament. We've got a foul called inside, I believe, on Larry Johnson.
They played well against Louisville. What, 6-point loss, 76,
5-point losses.
Yeah, something like that.
We should go back a couple years before that, back to '86, when they surprised everybody and really started to get some national prominence with a big win in the NCAA tournament over Notre Dame. Brown for 3. He loves it.
That can keep him close.
He shoots 44%. That cuts the 8-point lead to 5. Ogman inside to Butler. This goes right back up. It won't go. And the rebound to Tony Jones. Brown pushes it to Scott against Hunt. Knocked out of bounds by Butler.
Jones already scores 2 points a game. They're hoping they can get some playing time out of him and maybe combat that size a little bit.
I think what they're looking for is a few minutes from him because he's not played extensively. The foul is on Stacey Ogman. That'll be 2 on him.
And I'm impressed with the quickness of the University of Arkansas Little Rock, especially on the perimeter. Owens and Brown and Scott.
The Trojans will inbound under their own basket. Comes out to Derek Owens. He pulls up for a jumper off the lane, used the glass, but too hard. And backing out to pick up the foul was Butler.
Now there's something that University of Nevada, Las Vegas does a little different. They show zone on the out-of-bounds play, and then as soon as you get the ball in, they go right to their man-to-man. Most teams will either stay man-to-man or stay in zone, so that's been effective for them.
Well, Butler picks up the personal foul. It's his first. Baseline jumper a little bit short by Wade, and Ogman with those long arms scoops up the rebound. 14-9, Nevada's Las Vegas, and they find Butler. He's banged on the play, and the foul will be called. So David Butler will go back to the line.
You're talking to Coach Jerry Tarkanian. If there's a deficiency or a weakness in this Rebel basketball team, it might be in depth inside. They're a little concerned that they don't have big size. They got Moses Scurry who'll come in at 6'7" and give them some physical strength. But after that, they're a little concerned. They lost George Ackles, who's 6'10". They're redshirting him, so he'll be back next year. But they probably could use him for inside depth if they go along in the tournament.
David Butler is 2 out of 3 at the line. Number 30 checking into the lineup. You see right in the mid-right of your screen at the foul line is David Hall. There are 2 Halls. Derek Hall, David Hall, not related. Second one rolled in by Butler.
And they're real lookalikes. They're both about 6'5", one out of Hammond, Indiana, and one out of Detroit. Leading scorer of Detroit High School last year. True freshman. They really don't have any depth on this basketball team. They're really hurting for depth.
And they're missing a couple of players because Dwayne Booker, a neck injury in the tournament. He is out here. John Johnson, a broken hand. He's out. Penetration by Scott. He lays it home. So they only dress 10 men. Back they come. Butler missed the shot. The rebound to the big man, Tony Jones.
Oh, we saw a great move by Scott, and we saw a great transition game by UNLV.
There's Johnson with a block. The Rebels save it. Here's Butler. Missed the shot. Ogman the follow.
Well, those are big kids that are running that court that well. But again, the great quickness of the University of Arkansas, Las Vegas. If they could just hang on to the ball a little bit better.
Brown will slow it down a bit. Moses Scurry set to check in for UNLV. Derek Hall is about to come in, I think. He got up for the University of Arkansas Little Rock.
When you press as much as the Rebels do, that allows people who have quickness to drive around you, and the Trojans have been able to do that early.
Rod Wade hits from the side, 5-point lead as we approach the 12-minute mark. Time remaining in the first half. The Rebels in front. They've led from the beginning. Baseline jumper, good. Butler with 5 in the game. That's his first field goal.
And he's 6'10", inside player, but he's got that 10 to 12-foot range as they open him out against that zone defense on the baseline.
No points so far for Larry Johnson. I don't think he's taken a shot, has he?
No, he has not.
Here's Wade. Hall. Brown will battle Greg Anthony. Anthony will be in space all night long. There's a timeout called by the University of Arkansas Little Rock. We have 11:27 remaining in the first half. It's Nevada Las Vegas 20 and Arkansas Little Rock 13. Las Vegas leading by 7, and they can turn it around in a hurry as the block leads to the break.
Well, they average 5 block shots a game, a little bit over 5, so that means every ball game you start to play against the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, you're 0 for 5. So even if you hit the next 5 shots, you're 50%, but you still start out in the hole, so that's a great asset to have, and they've got that quality with those great jumping athletes in that back line.
Obviously the difference, UNLV owning the fast break points so far. Travis Bice has checked into the ball game. We mentioned Moses Scurry coming in, but Bice as well is on. He's replaced Anderson Hunt. So Anthony and Bice now are the guards, and on the way in, the foul was called on Greg Anthony. Greg Anthony, despite the fact that he does have his jaw wired, got a technical foul in the Big West tournament. And the official said to him, keep your mouth shut, which is hard for him not to do. I asked him about it. He said, well, it was more my gestures than it was anything I said, because I said, he can't really hear me.
Well, he picked one up in the Arizona game, too. In the Arizona game, he had to wear a mask, and that was the first game, I think, that he played after he broke that jaw. And he got one for the same reason. Bison, there, number 13, is really a 3-point shooter, 6'4", real slender kid, about 144 or 45 pounds.
And sideways, you can't see him. Owen. Deep in that corner, Vegas defense forces him out, but he works the baseline, tipped up. Johnson handles the rebound inside. Looks to Anthony. Here's Bice. It's almost a set shot. He stopped, popped, and scored. He's playing more and more. He is coming back from the bout with the chicken pox and getting more playing time.
You can see his body, the slender body he has, and if he had something like that, he'd really have a tough time recovering probably as far as physical stamina is concerned. And when you play for the Rebels, you really got to play defense first if you're going to get a chance to play.
Owens with it outside. A lot of minutes so far by Tony Jones. Owens lost control. Johnson has it. That was very close to an intentional foul.
I think Derek Owens is pressing a little bit. He's coming off a great game. He was the most valuable player in that tournament, and I think he feels he has to maybe carry the load in this game. And he's penetrating and getting by those big guys. With a guy like Ogman covering him, he's really having a tough time getting some points on the board.
David 5.
Larry Johnson was off and running. Not much that could be done except for the foul. We're in the bonus, so Johnson will go to the line. Has not scored in the game.
But a good free throw shooter out of junior college. Player of the year in junior college last year. Played in the World Games for Gene Cady at Purdue. An undefeated team, gold medal winner. A lot of people feel he's the best basketball player, collegiate player in the nation. And I think after Barry Payton's performance in that first ball game here, that if Johnson can win, his team can win and go on, he's got a better chance of making some of those awards.
And Payton, of course, got in big foul trouble, and his team eliminated in that opening round right here in Salt Lake City. We have some great individual players on the court here in Salt Lake and around the country as the NCAA tournament for 1990 is underway.
I guess we can brag a little bit. The only region with 2 All-American, first-team All-American.
That's right. Here comes Scott. They just will not let you inside. Scurry, very aggressive, very emotional.
He's 6'7". Look at the kind of quickness he's got.
He gets a trap in the corner.
Just great athletes on that UNLV team.
The three-pointer tipped up and out of bounds, and the Trojans will keep it. And as that ball went out of bounds, Travis Bice was going by us toward the other end. And that's the way they play it.
Well, those guards, they leave early. The ball goes up. They really don't need the guards to help them rebound with Johnson and Butler and Scurry's in there now, in Ogman.
Derek Brown is in the ball game. One reason you can for sure tell the difference. He wears the goggles as opposed to David Brown. Wade now into that lane. He's fouled. Fouled on his way into the lane. The foul goes on Travis Bice. Bice sneaking back to pick up the foul.
I'm impressed again with Wade. He's played well. He's had a 38-point game. He had 10 double figures in the last 10 ball games.
Well, a lot of those kind of games. David Hall had a 36-point game off the bench. Brown 39, Scott 35, Owens 33, Wade 38.
An up-tempo game like that, and with some teams where they've blown them out, I'm sure you'll get a lot of scoring, a lot of shots going up. And good balance, though. You know, they've all scored. No real big score. But they've had those kind of games. Well, Brown averaging 18. I guess that's a pretty good load for a score.
Not too bad. They've had all 5 of their starters in double figures this year. Anthony inside, Scurry. Oh, nice move. He is fouled on the play, and you can rack up the basket to Moses Scurry.
Well, Scurry started off and on. He's a 50% shooter inside. He's not a very good free throw shooter, but he's strong and he's quick.
And he is emotional.
You know, the combination of skill, big people with skills. You know, we've seen some others. Louisville had a lot of these kinds of players, but there aren't a lot of teams in the country that get the number of players that UNLV does inside who are big, also quick, and in this case, also strong. I think to win the national championship, you got to play good defense. You got to have some way to score inside. This team has those capabilities. Whether they can win it or not has to be shown, but they've got the kind of tools they need to have.
And just because they score in the 90s does not mean that they don't play good defense. They absolutely do. And the blocking foul is going to go against the Trojans. The foul is called, and trying to set the screen was James Scott, so we will walk to the other end. And the Rebels will be shooting. Their biggest lead of the first half is 26-14, and we are midway through.
I think it's impressive that UNLV on defense, 43% is all teams shoot against them. And the kind of game they play, you're getting a lot of easy baskets because of tempo and up transition. Well, that's a very good defensive percentage.
Good start for Stacey Ogman. Midway through the first half, he's got a dozen already. His average, 13.5 a game. Picked off by Derek Hall, number 22. Reset to James Scott. Of course, they're missing a guy they thought would play a lot of point guard, Yorick Brown. He's on the bench with an Achilles tendon. His career is over. And Jeff Cummings, their big man, 6'10", 6'11". He's missed a year because of academics. Line drive left-hander. Derek Hall rings up a 3.
That's the leading scorer in the Detroit high school scholastic system.
Out bounds underneath, and it'll belong to for the Trojans. The University of Arkansas Little Rock. Butler checks back in the game. Anderson Hunt is also coming back in the game. Now, you mentioned his great scoring in high school. I thought it was very interesting to note that he once scored 32 points in 1 quarter. In an 8-minute span of time, he scored 32 points. I think that makes him a streak shooter.
What was his average? 27.1, something like that in high school?
He got 55 in that particular game. 32 of them in 1 8-minute quarter.
Yeah. University of Arkansas thought they would have the best, or Little Rock thought they would have the best guard depth they'd ever had. And all of a sudden, boy, another turnover.
Stojanovic with a steal. Anderson Hunt's turn to jam.
Well, he's only 6'1". I would guess that all the starting five from the UNLV could jam the ball. I've never seen Greg Anthony stuff it, but I'm sure he could.
I'm sure he can. Stojanovic in there, so Jerry Tarkanian is going to that bench, which he is worried about, and he took some blame for that. He said, maybe it's my fault the bench isn't better. Here's Owens. He's got a 3.
I don't think he's too concerned about his perimeter bench, but he is about the big people inside.
Derek Hall with a steal. 9-point lead for UNLV. Wade's got a 3 underway. Augment to Stojanovic. For 3 in the corner, it's Hunt, and it's short. Tipped up, and a foul called on the play.
Well, Hunt has good speed, but he's pretty much a perimeter or set shooter on that 3-point shot. He hasn't shot a lot of them in this ball game because they've gotten the ball inside so well.
Well, he can be very, very good, but when he's off, the outside game becomes a bit of a problem for UNLV.
Yeah, he's a pretty streak shooter, and Anthony probably is not as good a perimeter shooter as Hunt as far as consistent performance.
Figure out who the shooter is going to be. Now, Tim Gergerich, one of the assistants for UNLV, up to point out that it was not Derek Brown who wanted to shoot the foul shots. Instead, it'll be Tony Jones. There's a little difference in ability as far as foul shooting is concerned between those two.
I think it's playing time, but it looks like Jones is going to get more playing time than he's had maybe all year in this ball game. He can stamina-wise hang with the Rebels.
Well, the early 3 fouls on Womack. Owens gets it back. He turns for 3. Brown is fouled as he scrambled in there for the rebound. Moses Scurry picks up the foul. His first of the game. Augment and Butler each have 2, and we mentioned Womack. He's the only player for either team with 3 fouls. That's Tim Gergerich with the multicolored sweater, who's been there 10 years helping out Jerry Tarkanian.
He's a head coach at Pittsburgh University and came with the Tark, and has been very helpful. You see a lot of assistant coaches in this day who have had head coaching experience, and we see it in the Pac-10 coming back to get back into the game as assistants. This guy's 6'4", and you saw him go up with Butler on that board and got inside of him. Those are 2 good-looking freshmen. The 2 Hall twins, I guess you could call them. They got different names. Almost identical kind of bodies. One's left-handed. That's how I'm able to tell them apart. And goggles, I guess.
Well, he hits the pair at the line. We'll have a break. 7:53 remaining in the first half. It's UNLV 29, University of Arkansas Little Rock 22. We'll be back after these words from your local station. This is an NCAA Productions telecast. Along with Bruce Larson, I'm John Sanders. We're in Salt Lake City. First round action in the West Regional for the NCAA tournament here in 1990. And the top seed, UNLV, has been up by as many as 12. Right now they've sliced into that lead just a bit. The lead is down to 7, and you can see a number we expected to see, much more scoring from UNLV inside than from the University of Arkansas Little Rock.
Well, I think you're right, and they've stayed in their zone pretty much the whole half. UNLV has been patient against the zone and had to play 5-on-5 and done a good job of getting it inside.
Inside-outside action right now. Stojanovic brings it back to Hunt. Still plenty of time, 20 seconds on the shot clock. Stojanovic steps down that lane, then brings it back out to Hunt for 3. It's way off. Tipped out of bounds. Who touched it last? I guess it was Derek Owens. The Rebels will keep it there in white. And in their maroon road uniforms, the Trojans from the University of Arkansas Little Rock.
On the back line of that defense, John, they're 6'6", and they're 6'7", and they're 6'4". And in the front line that they're competing against, it's 6'7", Johnson just coming in. And the 6'10", Butler, and 6'8", Augment. No, Augment's going out. So that's Young, and he's about the same size.
Yeah, they didn't lose any size in that deal. although Young is much more of a perimeter player than he is an inside player. He's a good shooter from the outside. Travis Bice is also back on right now for UNLV. It's it to Johnson. Turns around on that baseline and it nestles home. That's what he does so well. His first shot of the game, and it's a beauty.
He's 1 for 1. He shoots 63%. That's 8th in the nation. And he's just so tough around that basket.
This is David Brown. A little bit of a seam that time, and then Owen got himself hung up in the air, didn't know what to do. The result, a turnover, and the Rebels get it back.
Owen's really tough. You can see where he had a triple-double for University of Arkansas Little Rock. First one in the school's history. Now, that's a great feat. I know there's been 2 triple-doubles in the Pac-10 with Gary Payton at Oregon State. And Johnson, who's now playing for the Suns.
Second basket off the bench for Travis Bice.
Now, they like his shooting.
33-22. Scott fouled by Cianovich on the way in. It'll be a 1-and-1. Stacy Cianovich, shoulder problem for him during the season. They've had 10 different players who've missed because of injuries, suspensions, something. The only guy that's played in every game this year is Larry Johnson.
That's a good guy to have, playing every game for you, and that's probably led to some of the great stats that he's put on the board. I think what's happening, UNLV is going to probably have to give up a lot of fouls. With the quickness of University of Arkansas Little Rock, they're able to penetrate with that extended defense. And, of course, the older people, 2 reserves in there now, they can afford to give some fouls.
Scott with his first miss at the line tonight. And it's the front end of the 1-and-1. See Young, he'll move out on that wing. Right now, it's Butler and Johnson inside, and Cianovich, Bice, and Young on the outside.
Well, Bice is a great perimeter shooter, and so is Young at 6'8", and I'm sure that's why he's in there.
Young will put up a 3. Butler the rebound. It's out of bounds by Rod Wade. A transfer, a sophomore, is from Minnesota. Transfer from Wisconsin Parkside. That's an NAIA school. Young. Skip it back outside. Bice has got a 3 loaded, and he hits it.
That's 3 for 3, isn't it, John? So again, they're 3-point shooting. They rely on a 3-point shot. They look for it. Not that they aren't tucked inside, but they can also hurt you on the perimeter.
36-22. Well, they get that combination going. Gruesome, they're very tough to beat. That 3 is too long. Butler pushes to Cianovich. Young leads the play, but Stacy backs it out. Rice has got the hot hand, getting the ball. That's his first miss of the night. Mike Newell, what a great job he has done in Little Rock. Cianovich will leave. Greg Anthony checks back in.
One of the good young coaches in the country. Great background, great training. Was a great high school player. I think he still holds a record for Purdue Mackey Arena with 54 points in a high school game. Went to Sam Houston State. Graduated, what, 1973, I believe?
He's more than just a coach. He's also the athletic director and spends a lot of his time involved in fundraising to make sure that this university's basketball program and their other athletic endeavors have the finances they need. So it's been hard work.
That's been great for the community. No football to worry about, though. That's another asset.
They've turned it around basketball-wise at the University of Arkansas Little Rock and the NCAAs again this year. Scott squeezes his way inside. Johnson going at it with Jones, but I don't think there was a problem between the two of them. The foul is on Larry Johnson.
No, Johnson's got a great temperament for basketball. He's a great basketball player, but look at him here react to that pushing and shoving. He's got a great body, big shoulders, big arms and hands, getting pushed around. He responded pretty well. He's trying to keep it down.
Yeah, he said it's all right. It's all right.
Great temperament.
So the foul is against Tony Jones, and Johnson will be at the line. Misses the shot.
You saw his teammate from junior college play for Idaho, and he just about gave the Louisville Cardinals a little trouble early in that ballgame. He's 6'8". You can imagine those two guys playing on the same junior college team.
He did. Reach-in foul on Travis Bice. That's his second. We're talking about Riley Smith, who did have a heck of a game. I think he had 28 points in the losing game.
They played together at Odessa Junior College in Texas. Johnson is out of Dallas, high school in Dallas. Went to junior college, signed first with SMU, and decided not to go, and went to the junior college. And ends up with Jerry Tarkanian at the University of Nevada in Las Vegas.
Derek Hall checking out as Owens returns. The miss of the foul shot by Wade. Back come the Rebels. They've got a 14-point lead. That's their biggest of the first half. Tarkanian has substituted freely in the early going. Butler along the baseline, back out to Anthony. Inside they go again. Johnson's turnaround was blocked that time. Back comes Brown. He's fouled on the way.
Anthony's disagreeing with that call, but it's probably a good thing he called it because he had two if he had those.
Anthony picks up his second personal foul. He, Augman, and Butler each with a pair so far.
Oh, he's quick for body. Those shoulders, long arms. 11.6 rebounds a game. Also 20 points a game.
The Arkansas Little Rock bench picks up a technical. Johnson will go to the line. Got the 1-and-1 for Larry, followed by the two technical fouls. It'll be empty there for a while, except for somebody at the line.
I suppose if he makes those two, they'd let him shoot the technical. He's probably as good a free throw shooter as they have on that basketball team at 77%. I don't see anybody who's better.
Now, percentage-wise, that would be Cianovich and Bice. They're excellent foul shooters. They're in the 80s. Johnson has made 4 out of 5. He's going to stay right there. You're right.
Tarkanian points him. Hey, stay there. Keep making them.
Well, that's 3 in a row. Plus, you also got to remember they're going to get the ball back. With the potential to be a 7-point play here.
Yeah, that can hurt late in this first half.
And there's a miss. So on the side, it'll be UNLV, and let's take a look. He thought it was terrible.
Yeah,
the only T that was involved was for technical, as it turned out. 17-point lead, and Nevada Las Vegas has the basketball back. Bice to Butler. The 3 by Anthony. Young got a piece of it, but it winds up in the hands of Owens. This is Brown.
Jones continues to play for University of Arkansas Little Rock, 7'2". That's probably as much playing time as he's had.
Back out for the 3-pointer by Brown. Young reached in and got the arm that time of Tony Jones. So we've got a break, a timeout with 3:50 remaining in the first half. UNLV 39 and University of Arkansas Little Rock 22.
First, Ontario.
Most banks offer 2
by 17. Scott working Bice, spins along that baseline, hangs. Butler and Johnson scramble for the rebound. And it's Johnson. He tracks it down. Anthony now. Bice. Butler's jumper. Good.
That's where Butler's very good on that transition game where he comes down the middle after the wingmen have gotten down the floor. But he can stop and shoot that 10 or 12 footer as well as go all the way to the basket with it.
It is a 19-point lead for UNLV. As Owens pops out, they find Scott and Brown. Augman working all the time with those hands.
UNLV really helps very well inside the big people.
It's an offensive foul. Bice stepping up to pick up the charge from James Scott, his second.
He's got a fragile-looking body to take those heavy charges, and he did a great job. You saw him get his foot, stick it right out of bounds to make sure he couldn't go around it.
So a good job by Bice off the bench. Now we'll take a break. And the score is UNLV 41, the University of Arkansas Little Rock 22.
When people try Arby's.
This telecast is presented by authority of the NCAA. Any use of this program without written consent is prohibited. The announcers for this program have been approved and contracted by NCAA Productions. Right now it's UNLV out in front, and the Rebels will have the ball. And it's been a while since the Trojans have gotten on the board, and that's the kind of thing you cannot afford to do against a team like the Rebels.
Well, you have to shoot a good percentage, and that's very tough to do against their aggressive defense. And the Trojans are up against a little more than that because they're giving up some great size inside, so they're not getting anything inside, and the perimeter game has been taken away a little bit by the good pressure on the perimeter shooters by UNLV.
That time Johnson bumped into Jones, and that caused him to travel and turns the ball back over to the Trojans from the University of Arkansas Little Rock. Off the foot of Anthony, new 45 on the shot clock, says one of our umpires, Dan Chrisman. He and Terry Stout, the umpires. Mickey Crowley, the referee for the game. 2 minutes 32 seconds to play first half. UNLV is up by 19. That's the biggest lead of the first half.
They've got their starting lineup back in there now again, John, to finish out this last 3 minutes.
The Trojans have never had the lead in the game. Owen's outside.
UNLV, they front everything and they really help well.
Wade underneath. Loose out of bounds. Touchdown by the University of Arkansas Little Rockers. Anthony that time sneaked down low to battle the big men.
Oh, he did. He's a great jumper. Little left-hander. Making that transition to point guard, as you indicated, letting Hunt roam on that two-guard position, we call it, and get some free shooting. In some ball games, that's really getting benefit from him.
Inside to Johnson, right back up, and the basket will count. Johnson's so quick, he has such great hands.
That's a 2 for 3 for him, you know, again, that great percentage. UNLV shoots 50%. And the national average this year is down a little bit, just over 47%. You need to shoot over that if you're going to be a consistent winner. And, of course, UNLV has done that with their 50% shooting for the season.
And you can see Tony Jones is in foul trouble. Might be let him play out the string here. He's got exactly 2 minutes to play in the half. He's got 4 fouls and no movement by Coach Newell to get him out. Johnson finishes off the three-point play.
The University of Arkansas Little Rock lost to Cummings Academics, another 6'11" player. They thought they'd really have some size and strength, and they've had to rely on their quickness. Really came along at the end of the season. Finished third in the conference, but had a couple of big wins in the tournament to earn the right to go to the NCAA tournament.
From the Transamerica Athletic Conference. The three-point play, and they've doubled the lead. It's 44-22. Wade cuts it back. Larry Johnson with 9 points. Augman, that quick start, has 12, and Augman turns it over. Butler with 7, Hunt with 6, and that's pretty much the scoring for the Runnin' Rebels. UNLV leading by 20 as we approach the 1:30 mark. That's Hall to Hall, and Jones swats it away. David to Derrick, and out of bounds it goes.
2 true freshmen should get a lot of playing time. That's really the only bench that the University of Arkansas Little Rock has. Where the injuries and academic problems have been. Or did you see Johnson right through that screen? No, that wasn't Johnson.
Owens, a little short with a 3, and Anthony scoops out that rebound. Feeds Hunt on the wing. Inside they go. Was a Scurry was on the court. Lost it out of bounds.
Well, again, quick down the sides and right inside. So your defensive people really have to run the court. Your big people really have to get back in a hurry because these big Rebels will beat you down the floor.
Absolutely will. Hall from the corner. Too hard. Tipped up by Derrick Hall, but Augman with a rebound. He looked immediately to Anthony, and here they are. Right through the hands of Jones and out of bounds. So James Jones, who was the starter early in the year when Butler was sitting out of suspension. He was ineligible because of some academics at the start of the season.
He's played off and on, played well, but gets some playing time now for the Rebels.
Ball's 3 is short. Scurry cleared out, no question about it. He opened up a spot for himself.
An official call. He had the same angle that you and I had, John, and a good call.
All of a sudden there was daylight. There has to be a reason for that.
Well, you want to do something like that, but you want to do it a little more subtle and not create as much daylight as we saw on that particular move.
Watch the clear out. Yep.
Pushed him out with one hand and got the rebound with the other. Now, Scurry's tough. He's a good, solid rebounder. Averaging about 4 rebounds a game for the Rebels. 8 points a game. Gives him some good depth up front. Good player.
Wade has 6 in the game. A redshirt sophomore from Minnesota. Jerry Tarkanian, very calm so far in the early going.
He hasn't even been on the towels, I don't think.
Really hasn't needed to, and he says that towel business is simply a superstition and a nervous habit, and he says it's also overblown. Shot clock is off. We're winding down. We're in the final 30. of the opening half. It was a half that UNLV has dominated the top seed in the West out to a good, strong first 20 minutes here in Salt Lake City.
Haven't really shot well. Now, Bice did shoot from the perimeter for them, but otherwise it's all been inside with that great inside game they have.
Hunt from outside. His three is short. Hall up for the rebound. Looks long to Owens. His three. And that's the first 20 minutes of play. UNLV dominating so far here in Salt Lake City. The Runnin' Rebels are up on the Trojans 44-25 at halftime.
Drug abuse has become so common that most of us know someone who's a drug user. Maybe that someone is a classmate, maybe he or she is a relative or friend, maybe that someone is you. If you are involved in a substance abuse, it's not too late to stop. There are programs and people ready to help. Think about it. If you can stop using drugs, you can stop wasting your money, your relationships, and your life.
This message furnished by the NCAA.
Halftime score, the Runnin' Rebels out in front of the Trojans 44-25. I'm John Sanders, and also Bruce Larson joins me, and I think the first half dominated by UNLV, but nothing they did really surprised us. They played the way they've been playing.
Well, I think the difference in the game, up-tempo game by both teams, the big difference was UNLV got the ball inside with their size, and otherwise pretty even ball game as far as quickness and this team speed, but transition game at its best for UNLV.
And let's show you some of that transition game, because it doesn't matter whether they're big or little. The Rebels love to get up and down that court. That's why they call them running, I guess. Here's the finish of one by Anderson Hunt, but there were a lot of transition baskets. Augman had some early.
Well, Augman was dynamite early. I think he had 4 steals, and those resulted in easy baskets, and here Anderson Hunt at 6'1" can stuff the ball along with his teammates, but Stacey Augman coming into his own after that great tournament in the Big West and continues to play well.
It is going to be a tough road for the Trojans to try to get back against the top seed. The Runnin' Rebels of UNLV are off to a fast start. They've got the halftime lead at 44-25. We'll have more halftime activities coming up after these messages. Lake City, it's 44-25. Top-seeded UNLV running at the beginning of the game. NCAA Executive Director Dick Schultz recently spoke with Frank Bowl in Kansas City about a wide range of topics affecting intercollegiate athletics. Let's take a look at part of that interview.
Dick, you told the membership at the NCAA convention back in January that you were looking for a new model for the NCAA. Why, and what were you referring to?
Well, what I was referring to is the fact that there are many positives in intercollegiate athletics, but the point I made that you are what you're perceived to be. And today, if you take a look at the polls, the general public, faculty, professors think that colleges and universities are not doing a good job of controlling their athletic department. So my point was, if that's the case, then that means the model is not working and we need a new model.
Another hot topic in the NCAA is restructuring. Where does that stand right now?
Well, again, the NCAA always has a lot of committees, and you have to keep in mind who the NCAA is. The NCAA is those 1,020 members that make up the association, and they make the rules and they make the major decisions, and we carry those decisions out for them. So we've had a group of people working over a year and a half now on restructuring, a very representative group of all 3 divisions and the major interest groups. They'll be giving their report to the council in April, and legislation will come up in January. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to come up with. I haven't seen their final report, but such things as multi-division classification, the strengthening of requirements for Division I are some of the topics they've discussed.
It's interesting now you see a lot of interaction between the coaches and the presidents of the university. I think that's really what you're working towards, isn't it?
It is, and I think one of the real pluses that came out of the January convention, even though it was a tough convention and there were some intense floor fights, was that out of that grew a realization that there needed to be better communication between presidents, conference commissioners, athletic directors, and coaches. And the mechanism is in place now to have that happen. So I think that you'll see things start to move a little quicker and more support for everything that comes on the table.
You know, when you talk about an industry, every industry in this day and age is talking about cost reduction. Where's the NCAA with cost reduction?
Again, we have a special committee that's taking a look at that, and they'll also be reporting in April, which tells you right off the top that the January convention will be a dynamite one with the reform and cost reduction and restructuring. But I think that what you're going to see is probably a potential reduction of scholarships across the board, limitations on recruiting activities, trying to zero in on some of those things that are very, very expensive, but yet questionable when it comes to cost effectiveness.
I think one of the really tough things, too, you talk about season reduction. People just say, well, you know, get the athletes back in the classroom. But it's not that simple, is it? I mean, there are a lot of factors involved here.
No, it certainly isn't. And really the steps that were taken in January at the convention in reducing the basketball schedule and putting some stricter limitations on spring football is really a small step forward. What really happens, and what I think you'll see coming perhaps as soon as next January, will be a limitation on the number of hours per week that an athlete can practice during the season, and the same thing in the off season. Athletes are telling us very plainly that they just don't have enough time during the season to be the kind of student they like to be, and they don't have enough time in the off season to do the things that other students do. So we need to respond to that, and quickly.
Okay, Dick Schultz, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Well, here's one for you in the NCAA tournament. Arkansas hanging on to beat Princeton 68-64. We have the University of Arkansas Little Rock involved in this game against the top seed UNLV. We'll be back to talk with some of the school officials from both universities right after this.
Mark.
And we welcome you back once again to Salt Lake City, Utah. 44-25. UNLV leads at halftime. We mentioned we would have some of the university officials with us. We do. And to my right is Dr. Brad Rothermel. He is the athletic director at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And on my left is Dr. Gary Chamberlain, who happens to be president of the University of Arkansas system. We want to talk to both. And first of all, Dr. Rothermel, congratulations to you and the Rebels. I know you must be very proud and pleased to be the top seed. That means you're the team that's expected to go through this West and move on to the Final Four. So it's quite an honor.
Well, we hope so, but we just like to get the games done tonight. You know, we have a good lead at halftime, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But we are proud. We've had a great year both on our women's and men's side.
I was going to say, I saw both teams last week in Long Beach, and you have to be proud of both because they're both representing your school so well in NCAA play.
We have great coaches on both sides and excellent athletes, and usually that means things will go well for you.
All right. Well, congratulations once again.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
All righty. We are delighted to have UNLV here, of course, and also kind of double duty for Dr. Chamberlain, I guess. You have to kind of keep one eye on Arkansas and one eye on Arkansas Little Rock. Congratulations on both counts.
Thank you very much. We're very proud that we just got the score a moment ago that the Razorbacks won. We're still hoping for a good second half here.
Well, I know that at the University of Arkansas Little Rock, so much has gone in and effort and time to build the basketball program and the athletic program there, so you're all to be commended for an excellent job.
Yes, it is a young program, actually only 5 or 6 years, and in that 5 years we've been to NCAA tournament 3 times, NIT twice, so it's a growing program and it's doing very well.
All right, congratulations to both. We've got the University of Arkansas Little Rock and we've got the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and we've got more basketball. Second half is coming up right after this. It's 44-25 at halftime here in Salt Lake City, Utah. The Runnin' Rebels dominating the scoreboard at halftime. What about the rest of the statistical breakdown of this first half of play? It shapes up like this.
Well, the big difference is right there in the first one. Field goal percentage. UNLV shooting 23%. That's their lowest of the year going in at halftime. We indicated they had a great shooting percentage in the tournament, but it's that pressure defense that's made the difference. 23, 47 for the Rebels. They're 49 for the year, so free throws are close. Rebounds, those are even. Everything's pretty even except that shooting percentage, and that's the difference in the ball game. Scoring, balanced from the Trojans, but just not enough.
And, of course, Augmon and Johnson leading the way. A great start for Stacey Augmon. He made us look pretty good the way he played the first 5-6 minutes of the ball game.
Well, I think he had 9 of those points in those first 4 minutes, John. The Trojans get the ball here to start out the second half.
On the alternate possession, it'll be Brown along with Scott, Wade, Owens, and Womack. Womack sat out a lot of that first half when he got in early foul trouble. Owens pops out to take it to the same starting 5 out there for University of Arkansas Little Rock. Brown pulls up for the jumper, misses. Battle for the rebound, tipped up and into the hands of Johnson. It's Johnson, Butler, Augmon, Hunt, who has the ball on the baseline, blocked, and back to Anthony, who is the 5th starter. So those are the starters, same for each team that began the ball game. We're underway. In the second half, UNLV trying to advance and face the winner of the game yet to come, which should be an excellent matchup. The 8-9 game, the 8-9 seeds over the top to Augmon. 14 for Stacey.
That's his third really alley-oop for stuff. So Carl Brown is 1 for 9 for the Trojans. We indicated at the top of the show he was 10 for 13 in 3-point shots in his last outing. So he's way off the beam, but it's that pressure defense from UNLV that makes a difference.
And Mike Newell picked up a technical foul during the course of that first half. That was during a 10-0 Nevada-Las Vegas run, and there's a jam by Butler. So immediately the power inside jumps to the front. They open it to the biggest lead of the game.
And they try to play in front of Butler with a 6'7" player, and at 6'10", the easy lob or an easy dunk. That's the mismatch, is inside.
Owens against Butler. Off the glass too hard. Womack the rebound. Back up he goes and in. Here's Ogman. How quickly they get back down. He loses it out of bounds, but he was knocked away. They were there. They come right back at you.
That's after a basket. Transition after a basket. Full transition is what we call the type of basketball that UNLV plays. They're going to run the ball down the court after made field goals, steals, timeouts, anything. They're going to go with it. And Stacey Ogman at 6'8" was leading the whole crew down there. That includes the Little Rock, University of Arkansas Little Rock.
To Johnson, and he's fouled by Owens. The foul is number 2 on Derek. Go ahead.
Excuse me, John. We're covering him with a 6'4" guy. Owens, he's 6'7" and much stronger.
2 fouls on Derek Owens.
Look at that upper body strength he has. Across those shoulders, he looks like a tackle or a defensive end, maybe a good outside linebacker. He'd probably be a great one.
Always under control, and you talked about his composure for a big man who knows he's going to get bounced around in there. With the entry pass that time to Butler. David has 11, and UNLV 50-27.
Yeah, UNLV did not shoot well outside either in this ballgame. They're 1 for 9 on three-pointers, but really they haven't had to rely on three-pointers. They've been getting it inside all night.
Scott works his way around under the basket and lays it home. The Running Rebels wearing those black stripes on their uniforms throughout the tournament in memory of Hank Gathers.
Well, I think these first 5 baskets have all been lay-ins the second half, haven't they? In fact, the 4 have been stuffs or alley-oops.
They have been close range, no question about that. That'll help your shooting percentage in a hurry. A collision under the basket, and the foul is called on
Rebels, number 50,
Greg Anthony. It's 3 on Greg. He came up limping, too, after a little collision.
Looks like he got kneed, maybe, or stepped on an ankle. He ran into his own people down there.
He ran into Anderson Hunt. But as we return to live action on the inbounds play, the ball is turned back to UNLV.
As you look at the percentage of the inside people from UNLV, Ogman's at 54%, Johnson 63, Butler at 49 is probably, you'd like to have him a little higher, but overall, those threesome, that's the kind of percentage you want from your inside people.
Owens knocked it away. Brown comes up with it. Scott waits for somebody to break, and it's Owens. Wade starts to move down that lane. He's fouled. The basket went. I think they're going to count it.
A good strong move by Wade. Only 6'7", but 215 pounds. Over Butler at 6'10", and over the help.
That is 3 fouls now on Butler.
Wade had 6 points at halftime. He was the leading scorer for the Trojans.
Made only 2 of 5 at the line, though, in the first half. And a chance for him to go to 9 in the game. But it rattles out. Oh, the guy with sure hands, you won't see him do that very often. He took his eye off the ball. He was looking for that lead pass, the outlet to Anthony. They were going to be off and running, and he just dropped it out of bounds.
Well, Johnson got 8 rebounds the first half. He's well on his way to his career high of 16. He's had that 4 times, 16 rebounds in a game. That's a lot of rebounds.
Brown comes right back to Anthony, and here they come. Womack recovers to pick it off. 4 on 2. Womack pulls up at the foul line for the jumper. And Larry Johnson now sets up a 3-on-1 the other way. Hunt cruises in to lay it home.
There you saw an example of the good hands that Larry Johnson has. We indicated he just knocked one out of bounds, but he came back and made a great play there.
It's 54-31. UNLV. The top seed in the West, showing why they earned that top seed. Wade works that baseline, no place to go. Owens for 3. From behind, I think we've got a foul.
And Owens again, the other, we indicated at the top of the show, would have to score well. He hit 13 shots in a row in the last ball game. I think he's probably missed 13 shots in this ball game. As we look at the stats at halftime for University of Arkansas Little Rock, Carl Brown was 1 for 9, and Owens was 2 for 8, so 25% And what, about 10%? So they're way off what they really needed to shoot to keep this basketball team in this game.
That will not get it done. The foul on Johnson is his second. Owens goes baseline, up and off the glass and in. 7 points now for Derek Owens. Stacy Cianovich has checked into the lineup for UNLV.
He's the only player on that UNLV team that was on their Final Four team. What, 87 was it?
87. They've been in the Final Four in 77 and 87.
He's got a dad, Lou, who's a great coach. He played for him. I just read in the LA papers coming over here that he's having another great year at Santa Clara.
Anderson Hunt makes it a 24-point spread as he hits 3. Hunt now in double figures. Up for the rebound and a foul on the play, and I think it's on Scott. He's outmanned and got caught.
Well, there's Scott. He's 6'2", and he was going to go for the boards against Butler at inside position. Almost got it.
15:45 remaining in the game. UNLV has its biggest lead of the night. It's 57-33. With 15:45 to play, 4 of the UNLV starters are already in double figures as they lead the Trojans by 24 points, and UNLV will have the basketball. Larry Johnson, who celebrated his 21st birthday yesterday here in Salt Lake City.
Tarkanian commented on the fact that this is his best balanced team as far as scoring, but he's had some good teams where he didn't have balanced scoring, so he's not too concerned that he had balanced scoring. He just wants the people that can score to score. Whether it comes from 3 or 5.
He doesn't know if that balance is really necessary. He said it's nice. What really counts, I guess, is the final score, no matter who gets it. He said, we've had role players who weren't supposed to score, and that's fine. Johnson will go to the line.
The kind of players he's got here, you know, they have roles they fill as well as they all got scoring ability. So I think that's kind of a plus to have with Augman and Johnson and Butler, big guys that can play inside and shoot the 12 and 10-footer, and they can still rebound. And Johnson would be the kind of guy that if he just rebounded, he could play for this club. He wouldn't have to do anything else.
Well, despite all of his publicity coming in, Larry Johnson just fit right into the program. He's had 21 double-doubles. That's over half the games.
That's amazing.
13 points for him. He'll have another double-double before this one's over. Womack backs away, misses everything. Johnson the rebound. Butler, he's got Hunt and Augman. Augman overran the pass a bit, stayed with it, tips it up once, twice, and finally ripping it out of there is James Womack. Into the lane for the jumper, comes right back out. So Owens can't hit. Cianovich settles the ball down. 15 minutes to go in the game. UNLV leading by 25. Womack picks up number 4, and Butler goes to the line.
What UNLV does against the zone, they just overload that low post. Other teams don't do that. They bring a baseline guy behind the low guy on the blocks, and they end up with 2 people down on that one side, and then they go inside with it to the deep man. Been very effective for them. We talk about overloading the zone, you know, on the perimeter, putting somebody in the corner and 3 players on that side. But they overload that zone on the ball side. And the ball's just between the wing and the top of the circle. Good zone offensive action.
61-33. That's the difference in the ball game. The lead continues to mount. It's 28 points. And UNLV no let up from their play in the Big West tournament. The foul is going to be on Johnson. That'll be number 3 on Larry. They had it going full bore in Long Beach, and they didn't leave anything behind.
It looks like they picked up right where they left off, and if they continue to go as they have here, their next match would be the winner of Providence and Ohio State. And they're in the same bracket with Louisville. If they both could continue to win, they would run into each other, and Louisville probably has the kind of personnel that matches up better with this team than any of the teams are going to play in the next couple of rounds.
Eventually, who knows? Maybe Arizona.
Well, I think you got to have a team that's got big people that can run, and Arizona has that. So that would be a great matchup.
Brown's 3 is too hard. Hunt the rebound.
Arizona UNLV played in the top 16 last year, and Anderson Hunt hit a shot at the buzzer to win it for UNLV. They could very well meet in that same situation this year. Butler at the foul line. Augman thought about the 3, instead goes back to Butler.
Ogman.
Great foul. Caught the ball in the air, and you saw the athletic ability he has to shoot it before he came down.
30-point lead now for UNLV. You talk about their play in the tournament last year. They defeated Idaho, DePaul, and on that shot they beat Arizona, and then lost big numbers to Seton Hall, 84-61. Of course, the Hall was really on a roll.
And I think the emotional aspect of it, UNLV had gotten beat by Arizona in Tucson earlier in the year, so they were really ready to play. They knew they had to play hard to beat that great Arizona team, and they didn't have anything left for Seton Hall. And Seton Hall was physical and took advantage of it.
Owens with his second three-pointer of the game.
So that's why I think you can't get too emotional in the tournament play. You got 6 games if you're going to do it. And you got to take them, one at a time and try to give the same kind of equal emotional effort at all times so you don't expend yourself too much in one game.
Hunt misses the 3, Scott the rebound. Of course, all the coaches here have talked about the same thing, Bruce. They talked about playing defense as being the key to doing well in the tournament.
Oh, I think it is, no question. Defense for a good basketball team, you got to have a sound defense. And we saw that in the ball game with Ball State and Oregon State. Good, solid defense gives you a chance to win.
Ogman? Nope, that'll be a travel. It was showtime, but the curtain came down before the first act.
He knows he's going out of the ball game in a hurry. Tark wasn't too pleased with that. He hasn't seen that play before.
Number 13, Travis Weiss. Number 35, Moses.
It's all right in practice.
Well, in a slam dunk contest, that might be worth about an 8 or a 9. Did he make it? Yeah. Well, I think with the lead you have as a coach, you hate to have your players maybe try to show up a team like that. That would be one reason for taking him out.
That's a good point. Young is into the ball game along with Bice, Scurry. So Coach Tarkanian does go to his bench. Hall off the bench and into the lineup. This is Wade down the lane, hanging. He's fouled on the play. Moses Scurry will pick up his 3rd foul. Moses acts like he's never made a foul in his life.
And he's such a rough and rugged player, He plays with a lot of emotion, great intensity. And most UNLV players do because of the kind of defense that's required of them. And you're right. Boy, he's aggressive. Goes after the ball.
Wade with 8, but only 2 out of 6 at the foul line, so he's not had much luck from that spot tonight.
A big jump for him. You indicated he played the NAI basketball with a small Wisconsin Parkside college, sat out a year in his transfer, and now playing at a higher level.
He has 9 in the game. It's 63-37. UNLV on top of the University of Arkansas Little Rock.
They stayed with their zone the whole ball game, even down, 30 points almost.
There's a 3, short. Young follows. Not supposed to do that, is he?
Well, he's 6'7" on the wing. He came in on the wing, and that's what you ask that 4-man to do, or 3-man on your offense. That's usually what they call that small forward. And out of sight away from the ball. I noticed him early in the ball game. He came in. He missed a similar rebound.
Ball traveled. He was in a hurry, moved those feet. The first step travel catches up to Derek Hall. Coach Mike Newell. 12 minutes remaining in this one. It's 65-37. Back into the lineup comes Derek Owens. Hall goes out. The Trojans have never had the lead.
They got off to a tough start. They were a little tight, it looked like, to start with.
Well, it's hard not to be. You tell yourself you want so much to do well, and that doesn't help the situation a lot.
I think it gets a good kind of defense that UNLV plays.
Owens to Scott to Owens.
Nice transition basket. 3-on-1, did a great job with it. Owens again using the glass, and he's indicated to us in warm-up that he's a glass shooter.
Here's Young, likes the 3 and hits it.
Well, his ball goes sideways. You'd have to say as a coach, hey, that's not a very good-looking shot, but it goes in, and so then you don't complain too much.
He has 5 as he hits the 3. He's only a 31% three-point shooter, though. Wade doesn't get the roll. Scurry with a scream as he gets the rebound. Bice to Scurry along that baseline.
Great skip pass, which really opens up the lane inside. UNLV does a lot of good things. A well-coached team.
70-39.
Basketball is a fairly simple game, inside and then outside, and UNLV exhibited a good example of that here today. All inside.
10:44 remaining in the game. UNLV 70, University of Arkansas Little Rock 39. University of Arkansas Little Rock is down 70-39. It's the biggest lead that UNLV has had so far. I'm John Sanders along with Bruce Larson. Let's face it, the Rebels got it cooking. They're going on all cylinders right now.
They are. I think University of Arkansas Little Rock would like to have that rule that they experimented with in their conference, in the Trans-American Athletic Conference. They played with 6 fouls. With the lack of depth they have, they really like that rule. The other thing they did, they experimented with the three-point shot. If you foul a shooter on three-point shot, you get 3 free throws instead of 2. And the coaches like both rules. They go for it.
Young with his second straight 3. 8 points for Barry Young. 73-39.
They said in that three-point shot they didn't see very many of those. There weren't many fouls on three-point shooting.
Here's Brown behind his back. Hits the shot. It has been a long dry spell for Carl since that early three-pointer.
That's right. He started out with 1 and then 0 for 8. It's a long ways from his 10 for 13 and 39 points that he got in the semifinal game in that tournament.
Cianovich on there right now. We're inside that 10-minute mark. Young kicks it to Bice. A little strong. And there's a rebound or a foul on the rebound called on James Jones. Oh, Jones picks up the foul. UNLV has 6. University of Arkansas Little Rock with 4 team fouls. And there's not a lot sometimes that a coach like Mike Newell can do. When it starts to go bad and you let a team like this get up on you, and you see that LSU has ended one of the strings in NCAA tournament play as Hall tries the shot. First time that Rolly Massimino has not won an opening round game in the NCAA, but LSU took care of that.
Well, LSU has, again, the kind of a team that probably could go a long ways. They got a great size. They're young size, and they got the great guard in Jackson who can do it all. And they just haven't had a consistent year, you'd think, with all the big people they have. And again, I think as they play more and more and they get more experience with those young freshmen, they'll be tougher.
Well, they jumped out something like 23-8 in that game, and Villanova did get back to make a game of it. But LSU advancing on this opening day. More openers, of course, tomorrow. Back to Salt Lake on Saturday with 2 more games. The winners then advancing to Oakland, California. The eventual destination, of course, is Denver. Double figures now for Rod Wade. He's got 10.
As you look at the field this year of the 64 teams, and the parity of basketball, I think maybe more interest in this year's tournament than any, because I think a lot of teams think they have a chance to win it. There's that Scott again, 6'2". He's around the basket. He got to be a postman instead of a 2-guard.
That's the second foul on James Jones. Scott stays with it down there.
6'2" against the big guys. Great leaping ability, athletic, great management skills. Get up in the air, move the ball around, and still get it off the board. Against 2 6'8" and a 6'9" player in there.
Talk about interest. We've got a good crowd here tonight. They're filled way up into the second tier. Capacity about 15,000 in this building. Of course, great following for UNLV.
Well, they're pretty close. I think that's one reason they were in this. They could have sent them to Long Beach, and they drew well in Long Beach last week, as you were there, John. But they felt that probably Arizona would draw better at Long Beach than they would here. A little easier to get to Long Beach from Tucson, Arizona, than it is to get to Salt Lake. And Vegas, what, maybe 6 hours or 6... I don't know. 6 hours down the road?
Thank goodness I didn't have to drive. 9 minutes to go. 73-45. Again, the foul will go on Jones. So James has picked up 3 quick fouls since coming off the bench.
34, James Jones. 3rd foul on James Jones.
This might give Jerry Tarkanian a chance to develop some of that inside backup that he's probably going to need when he starts facing those bigger and more physical teams down the road.
Well, that was very interesting that he talked yesterday about maybe his lack of bench strength being his fault, intimating that he had not used his bench in the proper fashion going along this season.
I think he lost confidence in them early, you know. They got early leads, and he'd make changes, and they couldn't hold the leads or maintain them. Didn't expect him to build on the leads, but he felt that they could at least maintain it, and they weren't able to do that. And so he tried to pull back a little bit. I think that's probably what happened to him.
All 5 of the UNLV losses this year came to NCAA tournament teams. Scurry goes back up for the follow. They are 8-5 against NCAA tournament teams as they come in here. They play a very difficult schedule.
I think that helps. You know, teams that do that, it's going to affect your win-loss record, but with the kind of program that the UNLV has, and those national recognized teams, even if you lose, you don't lose a lot of ground if you lose to an NCAA contender.
Long rebound that time by Barry Young, who's been going inside a little bit more. Bice takes the baseline and has to bring it back to Scurry.
And I think you see more and more teams doing that. Of course, that's the thing that
here's Jones.
Hurts Little Rock or University of Arkansas Little Rock. They don't play that kind of a schedule, so this is kind of a tough game for them to handle.
That's a 3 from Owens. Scott could not hang on. Scurry and Young form the 2-on-1. Young is hammered by Scott. That's 4 on James Scott. Well, he's done all he can for a guy that's only 6'2", trying to battle those big guys inside.
Boy, he really has. He's played both ends of the court. There we saw a transition game with 2 guys about 6'7", coming down the floor, handling the basketball, going against somebody 6'1", and that's about all you can do. You want to keep them from the layup, but put them on the foul line.
The Trojans of University of Arkansas Little Rock coming in at 20-9. They're 12-4 in the Trans-America play this year. Young at the line.
Here's a guy that has a reputation of being a pretty good three-point shooter, but he doesn't have the stats that indicate he's a very good free throw shooter. So that should really tell you that not that good a shooter, but he hits those 2.
And he's in double figures. 79-47. UNLV on top. We have 5:54 remaining in this game. With Bruce Larson, I'm John Sanders, and it's 79-47 here. Try to update some of the other games from around the country on this opening day of the NCAA tournament for 1990. As the Trojans bring the ball up, Oklahoma, a top seed, had a little bit of problem with Towson State. North Carolina opening with a win over Southwest Missouri State. And Arkansas, very tough battle against Princeton. Princeton again close, but no cigar. 3-pointer that time by James Scott. He's got a dozen. Stianovich, Jones, Young, Scurry, and Bice.
UNLV still stays in the zone.
The follow inside, a foul called on Owens, and going back up for the shot was James Jones. So none of the starters are in there right now for UNLV. That's 3 on Derek Owens. I'm just going to put James Jones at the line. Jones from San Jacinto Junior College.
As you indicated, he did start for the Rebels early when Butler was not academically eligible that first part of the season, so he got some playing time.
He played well.
And his playing time went down, and maybe now he's back on track.
Of course, I think in so many cases, and college basketball no difference, the opportunity is the key. You get a chance to play, you get a chance to show what you can do and develop your abilities.
Yeah, I think
sometimes that's tough on the bench.
It is.
Scott. Owen hanging, tried to use the glass, but he was scraped from behind, and the foul was called.
We saw a young man in the early ball game here, Chandler Thompson from Ball State. He built a lot like Owens, about 6'3" or 4. Big lower body, strong, about 220 pounds. And really had a great game against Oregon State. It was tough for Oregon State to match up with him. And this guy's similar, going to the basket, pulling up and moving the ball around and using his lower body strength to create some shooting opportunities.
He is 6'4", very solid 200 pounds. 1 out of 2 at the line for Derek. 13 points. Rod Wade has 12. James Scott has 12. They are the leading scorers for the Trojans of the University of Arkansas Little Rock. Travis Bice will launch a 3. We have a foul on the rebound, moving into position. The foul goes on Moses Scurry. Oh, excuse me, it's not Moses Scurry, it's James Jones. In any case, it's 4. It would have been 4 on either player.
Yeah, Coach Tarkanian may have to put his starters back in. I see Butler over there with some ice on his knee. I'll give him a chance to recover and get ready for that next round game.
A 1-1 for Rod Wade. So far, Rod is 7 out of 13 at the line. He has 13 points in the game. So he spent a lot of time at that foul line. Just hasn't had a whole lot of success. 14 now for Rod. It's above his average.
Right, and he gives him his 11th double point scoring in a row. So he's been playing better for the Trojans.
Scurry gives it to Jones.
That was a good tough inside pass. Two big guys handling the basketball.
Not easy when you get that close together either, is it, Chris?
No, it isn't. Again, you got to be impressed with the agility and athletic skills of the Rebel big men.
An air ball that time by Derek Owens, who got into the lane but lost track of where the basket was. Weiss now. Stianovich. Young launches a three. Brown to Owens. Stianovich steals it. He'll go over the top to Stewart.
Great pass by Stacy Stianovich. He really liked that.
6-minute mark approaching. It's 85-53.
I suppose the Rebels will make close to their scoring average. They're 8th in the nation, averaging 93 points a ball game.
Missed by Jones. Rebound by the Rebels. Weiss curls in a 2. 9 points for Travis Weiss. Weiss hits, and at the 5:30 mark, the Rebels continue to widen the lead. It's 87-53. Halftime 44-25. Young's turnaround is good. Excuse me, Jones' turnaround.
That was a pretty good back in by Jones. He just moved him back.
Tony Jones' first basket of the game.
Nice extension. Ball body.
Skip it back to Weiss for 3. Yep. That's a dozen for Travis Weiss, his second three-pointer. 5 minutes to go, 90-55. A 35-point split here. Ouch.
Way too much firepower. And basically it's inside. And again, it emphasizes how important it is to have big, agile, mobile, and hostile people that can play inside for you. That's what this UNLV team has.
They've got that. Into the lineup is Rice and Jeter. So we've seen all 12 of the Rebels who are here on the trip. Jeter did not play in the Big West tournament because of mononucleosis. Rice played a little bit, and they're both in the lineup.
Well, maybe this is the best physical condition that UNLV has been in since the season started.
But they got a little time off right at the end of the regular season before the tournament, which helped them. They needed the rest.
When you play a national renowned schedule such as they do, what it forces you to do is to play a lot of midweek games, and you give up conference game time so you can get on that national TV. And of course, with a program like UNLV, that's what happens to them. So a lot of times you're playing 3 games in a week. You got to play 2 conference games, and then you got to play somebody like Oklahoma right in the middle of your conference schedule. It's just tough to maintain physical strength. Fatigue is a factor for the UNLV Rebels late in the season.
They seem to have it all together for the tournament. Stianovich will penetrate, has it taken away by Brown. Brown needs some help. Gets it from Owens. 4.5 remaining. UNLV looking for another 100-point game. Scott's turnaround is good. Scott with 16.
Well, he's had a good ball game for University of Arkansas Little Rock. I suppose if you pick the player of the game for the Trojans, it would have to be him. The size and intimidation really hasn't affected him as much as it has the other players.
It's just tougher to deal with, no matter who you are. He's got people on the ground and trying to work his way up as Young. Jones is fouled. Foul will go on Tony Jones. He's gone. That's 5 fouls on Jones. Didn't play much in the second half after he picked up his 4th foul in the first half. And he had bodies everywhere. So Tony Jones, who gets a lot of playing time, and he gets a nice handshake from his coach, Mike Newell. He says, good job. He had to play a lot of minutes. Had just that one nice basket.
He's really the only size that the University of Arkansas Little Rock has at 7'2". And he's a senior also, so they're going to have some filling in to do next year. No, I guess he's a sophomore. Is that right?
Yeah, I've got him as a sophomore. He just came from West Ark Junior College.
So I think he started at Arkansas Little Rock. Moved to junior college and came back, so he'll get some more playing time as the next couple of years.
UNLV 92, University of Arkansas Little Rock 59. Out in front with 3:47 to play, along with Bruce Larson. I'm John Sanders, and we're happy to have you with us tonight from Salt Lake City. And there's Coach Tarkanian.
Looks pretty relaxed.
Another day in the office.
Ready for Providence or Ohio State.
And earlier today here, what a great game. Not necessarily in the caliber of play, but certainly in the excitement level at the end as a foul shot with time gone settled it. And then it was Louisville behind early, but they rallied. They really played tough the last 30 minutes of that game. Womack turning is fouled by Sianovich from behind. Those are the two teams who've advanced so far. Ball State and Louisville will play on Saturday. UNLV to take on the winner of the Ohio State-Providence game, which is a good matchup because Ohio State seeded 8th at 16 and 12. Providence seeded 9th at 17 and 11.
You would think those 8 and 9 seeds would be the best games of the tournament because they should be the most evenly matched teams, and they usually are. Kind of interesting last year, not one 8-seed team won a game. All the 9 seeds beat the 8s. Last year. Whether that'll happen again this year or not, we'll have to wait and see. But usually those are the good games in this first round.
I think that's a tribute to the seeding process if that's the case, because you know they're pretty even and could go either way. It's 92-61 here. UNLV seeded number 1 in the West against the number 16 team.
Well, Ball State plays in Louisville. Louisville, an up-tempo team with great size.
Jones up for it and lays it home.
Ball State's going to control the tempo. They play good, solid defense, and they feel if they can defend them long enough and well enough that they'll give themselves a chance to win. So it should be a low-scoring game again, much like the Oregon State-Ball State game.
Rice pulls up, looks for some help, finds it in Sianovich. Rice gets it back down the lane, knocked away from him. Owens and Scott on the right wing. Comes Owens, pulls up for the jumper and hits the bottom of the net. 15 points for Derek Owens. James Scott is working on 16. Carl Brown has just never gotten it going so far.
He and Owens are the two seniors on that basketball team, so they got some good young players coming back.
Sianovich with a long set shot that won't go.
I think his teammates are trying to get him into the scoring column. Everybody else has scored for UNLV.
Sianovich is not neither as Rice nor Jeter, but everybody else has. 9 players have scored. Owens again won't go. Sianovich the rebound. Rice for 3. Jones the follow. Jones in double figures. He's got 12.
Leading again way down the bench, for UNLV. Playing here in the latter minutes, still a great size advantage.
6 players in double figures for UNLV. The only starter who didn't score was Greg Anthony. And Anthony is sat a lot. And a real chance to rest up as Scott goes up against Rice. He'll track it down and shoot from the corner for 3. Yeah.
Well, he continues to have a good ball game.
And a turnover will give the ball back. And from here in Salt Lake, we want to take this chance to thank the NCAA Basketball Committee representative, Dave Maggard, and the tournament manager, Ned Algar, tournament media coordinator, Bruce Woodbury, from Arkansas Little Rock, the athletic director, Mike Newell, of course, head basketball coach as well, as Scott hits 2, and he's got 21. Sports Information Director Sean Johnson from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Athletic Director Dr. Brad Rothermel. Head Coach Jerry Tarkanian, along with his staff, and the Sports Information Director Joyce Eisenberg. Rice a 3. Same reaction from the fans as there was in the Big West tournament when he hit a 3. Paul.
It looks like Coach Jerry Tarkanian is going to get his 28th NCAA win. That puts him 1 behind Coach Bob Knight of Indiana. He still ranks 4th. And, of course, the further they go in the tournament, he could get up as close to Denny Crum, who's second. So some active coaches. Crum, Smith at 41, Crum at 31, Knight at 29, and Jerry Tarkanian at 27 NCAA wins. They're all still in the tournament.
And the Rebels hit the century mark at 101 now. Scott with 23, and he's really started to find the range. Jones makes a good catch, and he'll go to the line.
Trojan, by 44, James Womack.
That's 5 on James Womack.
5.
He will foul out with 16 seconds remaining. Womack got in early foul problems. That made it tough for Mike Newell.
Well, even now, you know, he's 6'6", John. Maybe, I don't know if he's 6'7" or 6'6", trying to cover Butler at 6'10", and Johnson at 6'7" and 235 pounds. He just really had an uphill battle all the way. And as UNLV did a great job of getting the ball inside, you're either going to get points when you do that, or you're going to get on the foul line. And they got a little bit of both early in the ball game, which put the University of Arkansas Little Rock in foul trouble early, as well as making it tough for them to defend the inside game of the Rebels.
101-70. Pair at the line for Jones. He has 13. Bice has 12. Young has 12. Scurry 8. Anderson Hunt 11. David Butler 14. Stacey Augman 16. Larry Johnson 13. That foul is on Chris Jeter. Scoring tonight for the Trojans. Rod Wade with 14. Derek Owens 15. James Womack fouled out with 6. James Scott with 23. Carl Brown really never got it going. He had 5 points total in the game. Derek Hall 5. And Tony Jones with a couple.
As we looked early in the ball game, the keys to the ball game were that Brown and Owens, the 2 seniors who had come off the tournament, they're a conference tournament, really playing well and scoring well and hitting threes. They just were not able to maintain that pace against this good UNLV team.
And that cold shooting ran through the entire team. Finally stuck home by Owens. So Owens has 17 points. And that is it. UNLV, the top seed, off to a good start in the NCAA tournament for 1990. 102-72 over the University of Arkansas Little Rock. Whose tournament time arrived?
Well, I think they exemplified what you need to have in a good basketball team. Good big people, strong inside game, great pressure defense, and run the court well with your big guys, and they did it, you know, to the utmost here tonight. If they continue to do that on down, you can see how they're going to be a threat in the NCAA tournament.
A 30-point win for UNLV.
Start.
This NCAA Productions telecast has been brought to you by...
And as we say goodnight from the John Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Again, the final score, top-seeded UNLV 102, University of Arkansas Little Rock 72. This has been an NCAA Productions telecast.